Oxygen. This tiny but highly electronegative element is younger than nitrogen but older than fluorine. It only weighs 15.999 grams, but don't get their size and age mixed up purpose because oxygen is everywhere. It makes up only 20% of the atmosphere, but it makes up 84% of our oceans. We use oxygen every day to survive. Plants hold onto the bit of the oxygen, which is then produced in the photosynthesis, and use that oxygen to break down the carbohydrates and then is released into the air. Then animals and humans will take the oxygen into the lungs. It's picked up by the iron atom at the center of the hemoglobin in the blood and thereby transported wherever it's needed. However, with limited amount of oxygen and other facts, we can't do things like run forever because your body produces lactate faster than it can clear it. Plus, running does more to your body than just consume fuel. Your body slowly relies on fat for energy, but people stop running before that because of the amount of pain. Ever wonder why you can't swim underwater forever? It's because through respiration, oxygen molecules are dissolved in your blood and then attached to the hemoglobin, which is then taken to every cell in your body. These cells need oxygen to survive. The tanks you see here are used for putting people to sleep in surgery so the patient will not feel any pain. The oxygen is supplemented in order to make up for the slower respiratory rates and death of breathing. These humongous tanks, also known as H-tanks, are used to run oxygen throughout the entire medical facility and also other gases. These gases are used in operating rooms and the pre-surgical area and the recovery room as storage of pure nitrogen, nitrogen oxide, and pure oxygen. Nitrogen oxide is used as pain relievers and also as anesthesia. These nitrogen tanks, not seed, is used as power drills and saws. These H-tanks hold about 6,900 liters, while these smaller tanks hold about 3,000 liters, which are located on the side of the anesthesia machine and is used for emergencies only in the event that the major supply is compromised. As you look at the cords attached to the wall, the gases are all assigned to different colors so no mistakes happen. Black is nitrogen, green is oxygen, blue is nitrous oxide, yellow is air, and white is vacuum. The gauges help the anesthesia provider to know how much pipeline pressure there is and how much O2 is in the side tanks for emergencies. The flow meters above it help regulate the flow of gases. If you raise the ball, the more oxygen or whatever gas you use flows faster.
Turn it up, okay?
The halogenated gases are used as anesthetic, but before all this, the anesthesia must help set up the drugs, put on the protective equipment, and also check the lighting. Then she or he will set up the airway supplies, which uses to help the patient breathe, like for instance oral airways and endotracheal tubes. The flow meter is turned, and then the oxygen is then delivered by the long corrugated tubing to the patient's oxygen mask, and the patient breathes normal. And the patient is carefully monitored and vital signs maintained to as near normal as possible, such as blood pressure, pulse oximetry, or EKG. Pulse oximetry is also the most important monitor because it gives the pulse rate, and through infrared technology, it gives a percentage of hemoglobin with oxygen attached to it. Oxygen is both dissolved in the bloodstream and attached to hemoglobin molecules. I would like to thank you, Oxygen. Because of you, we were able to use anesthesia, give wild and domestic sea creatures and trees life. You don't make me run 300 miles at practice or make my brother swim for 7 hours.
If I took your breath away.
You also help protect our Earth from harmful rays from the sun. I'm sorry for everyone damaging ozone. Believe me, I try to tell them to stop making such a defined carbon footprint, but they just don't listen. I try my best too, but I'm also giving back to society by saving one life at a time. Breathe, live, and protect. I guess they just don't see how the rise in sea levels will cause some cities to drown, or some deserts to actually become lakes, or the people's houses actually get thrown, or big dust storms, or the ice glaciers. People just don't see what their carbon footprint is doing to the world. Oxygen is the most important thing in the world, and without it we would not be here. I would try my best every day to protect it.
Sometimes you just feel tired.